Tip number one, when you're speaking to a landlord about Airbnb arbitrage, do not say Airbnb off the bat. This is a mistake that a lot of beginners make. I know I made this mistake when I first started calling landlords and asking for their permission to start Airbnb, but you definitely don't want to say Airbnb off the bat because it does have a bad connotation. And this is just to not give them a bad impression of what we're actually trying to do here. Now, yes, obviously we're going to put it on Airbnb and other short-term rental websites like VRBO, like Booking.com, like Furnish Finder. We're gonna advertise and market the listing as much as we can so that we can make as much money as possible. But it's very important that you frame yourself as a professional when you're on these calls with the landlord and you show them that the guests that you're bringing in, you are vetting to a certain extent and you're not just letting anybody in. And that leads me into my next tip, which is creating a pitch to make yourself sound legit. You want to create a pitch that is professional, that makes you seem like you're an actual company and entity that does this full time, even though you're not. Because why would a landlord trust you with their house if they don't feel like you're gonna do a good job of what you're saying you're going to do? And this is why you have to do some research on the business model before you actually start. This is why you have to look up how to actually manage an Airbnb business, how to install security systems, how to background check guests, how to manage guests, how to communicate with them, how to make sure that the people that are coming in are actually who they say they are. You have to do your research and your part before you go speaking to these landlords, or else you will sound unprofessional and it will show because you haven't even studied up on what you should be a professional at. Some terms that I like to use when I'm talking to landlords are terms like acquisition manager, hospitality management company, short-term housing company. When you say things like that off of the bat, you don't give them the ick. You don't scare them away by just saying, "Can I do Airbnb with your property?" Obviously, that's not going to work. They're just gonna be like, well, this guy's just gonna let a bunch of parties happen and my property's gonna be destroyed and there's no insurance and there's this, X, Y, Z. Don't say Airbnb off the bat. Create a professional pitch. Make yourself sound professional and legit. The easiest question that you can ask to get your foot in the door while you're having the conversation with the landlord is just by simply asking, would you be open to subleasing to my clients on a short and midterm basis? They'll be like, what do you mean by that? Are you talking about Airbnb? Or maybe they won't even say that. And if they do mention Airbnb, we do market the listing on Airbnb as a third-party platform, but we also market it on other third-party platforms like Booking.com and VRBO, and it's really just so that we can get the maximum occupancy possible. But also make sure that you tell them that you're vetting those guests, that you're getting security deposits, that you have short-term rental insurance. You gotta make sure that all this is known to the landlord. Last tip I have is to build a website because it can definitely help. And this can work even if you don't have any Airbnbs yet. The way that I make this work is I pull up free stock images that I can just put in place of the website and we can just talk about what we do. We can have a frequently asked questions page where you can answer all of their objections. You make it look professional. Just use a website like Squarespace. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but that's literally where my website is created. And you want to make it look like an actual booking page where people can go and book your place. Super easy to make with Squarespace. It's like probably 15 bucks and you can make it in like an hour or two. In the website, you just want to say who you are, who you serve, what the location of the actual Airbnbs will be. Like you'll want to say the city and the state of where you guys are based in. And just a couple stock images of all the amenities that you'll have, like the smart locks and the toiletries and things like that. You just want to make it seem like an actual booking page that's professional. And it can definitely help because some landlords will actually ask, do you have a website? And you can send that over. You're more likely to close the deal with them. Of course, when starting this business, the hardest Airbnb to get is your first one because you don't have that experience, because you don't have that innate confidence from actually having real life experience. It is a fake it till you make it game until you get your first Airbnb. But in my one-on-one mentorship, I do help my students acquire their first unit in under 2 months of working with me. They were able to use my references and like my actual one-on-one guidance, helping them talk to these landlords in real time and close them and pitch them and basically do everything that we have to do to close the deal. And if you're interested in starting an Airbnb business and you want that one-on-one guidance, that one-on-one support, just click on the top link below. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one so we can see if it's a good fit for us to work together. Take care.